impose some safeguards which you have to follow. So this was the ultimate goal and ultimate aim. So now let's quickly look at the different provisions of this particular treaty to understand NPT, which is a very important topic in arms control and disarmament. So Article 9 of NPT talks about the treaty, defines nuclear weapon states as those that had manufactured and detonated a nuclear explosive device prior to 1967. So as I told you before, only those countries will be considered as nuclear weapon states, those who have acquired nuclear weapons before 1967. And those countries are, of course, US, UK, France, Russia, and China. These are permanent 5 also. United Nations Security Council's permanent 5 members with veto powers. All other states after 1967 are therefore considered as non-nuclear weapon states, which I told you before: India, Pakistan, Israel, and North Korea. These countries are called as non-nuclear weapon states. So according to Article 9, it's a clear-cut distinction they make among those states which have acquired nuclear weapons before 1967 and those countries who have acquired nuclear weapons after 67. Okay, so the next provision talks about non-proliferation, and this provision deals with Article 1, 2, and 3. Nuclear weapon states are not to transfer to any recipient whatsoever nuclear weapons, and not to assist, encourage, or induce any non-nuclear weapon state to manufacture or otherwise acquire them. So it is a clearly it has been clearly they have written it, and it has been declared that no nuclear weapon state will transfer nuclear know-how, technology, or they are going to encourage any state to acquire nuclear weapon which is not, signatory to NPT and which is a non-nuclear weapon state. So it is clear cut. It has been declared. Non-nuclear weapon states are not to receive nuclear weapons from any transferor and are not to manufacture or acquire them. So it has also been cleared in that particular treaty that non-nuclear weapon states should not get nuclear weapons from any actor, whether it is a state actor or non-state actor, and they are also not allowed to manufacture or acquire them. So this was also mentioned in Non-Proliferation Treaty, NPT. Non-nuclear weapon states must accept the International Atomic Energy Agency safeguards on all nuclear materials on their territories or under their control. Now, IAEA, as I told you before, is International Atomic Energy Agency, which deals with the safeguards, handling of the material, safety and security of the nuclear installations, and they ensure that nuclear energy or nuclear material or nuclear reactors are used for peaceful energy, peaceful purposes, and they are not allowed or for the nuclear weapons. So these type of safeguards, they also ensure the safety and security of the nuclear installations, because that nuclear energy is very dangerous when it is not controlled. And we have seen that particular thing in the Chernobyl explosion, which took place in Russia, in which a nuclear reactor was destroyed, and the radiation that affected many hundreds and thousands of people in Russia. At the same time, Fukushima, a nuclear plant in Japan, was destroyed because of the tsunami, and because of the radiation. Many people they suffered sickness in Japan as well. So nuclear energy must be controlled, and it must be contained in effective safeguards where it non-state actors or terrorists or any unauthorized use could take place. So that's the idea behind. Article 6 talks about disarmament, which means that countries must just dismember themselves, just disarm themselves. I'm sorry. All parties must pursue negotiations in good faith on effective measures relating to the cessation of nuclear arms race and to nuclear disarmament, and on a treaty on general and complete disarmament under strict and effective international control. Now, this is just an idealistic approach, and I believe in modern realist world, this is not possible, because most of the countries, they have got issues, they have got many unresolved issues, they have got their vestige in trust, they have got their own aspiration to dominate the world according to their own style, according to their own way of life. So that particular thing is not possible. The total disarmament is not possible. The world has learned to live with nuclear weapons and to live with nuclear deterrence, and it has been effective as well. Why? Because since 1945, Soviet Union, America, then Russia and America, they never fought a war. They never directly engaged, each other, and they were engaged in proxy wars, in Korean War, for example, in Vietnam War, in Afghanistan. They were involved there, and hundreds and thousands of people, were killed in those wars. But they never fought a war like World War One or World War Two. So this is the success of nuclear weapons, which proved, very, very useful. India and Pakistan, for example, both fought many wars. 1971 was the major war which took place in this region. But after 1971, when India and Pakistan acquired nuclear weapons in the 80s, since then, both countries never fought a war. So basically, disarmament, total disarmament is not possible, but a reduction of nuclear weapon is always welcome. And in the previous lecture, we have already covered that how United States of America and Russia, they reduced the nuclear warheads from 45,000 to 30,000 to now in 6,000 or 5,000. So such type of steps are really good, but total disarmament is not possible in current circumstances. We never know about the future. Article 4 of the treaty talks about peaceful use. Peaceful use mean that you can only utilize nuclear energy for for electricity generation, for medical purposes, for agriculture research, and for many other things, but only for the peaceful purposes. And this particular technology should not be used in weapons. So this is the idea behind Article 4 of the treaty. The treaty does not affect the right of state parties to develop, produce, and use nuclear energy for peaceful purposes. So provided such activities are in conformity with Article 1 and 2. So basically, NPT allows peaceful use of energy, production of energy, nuclear energy, but only under the safeguards of IAEA. So IAEA ke safeguards ke andar reh ke, a country can have nuclear energy for peaceful purposes. Simple. All state parties undertake to facilitate and have a right to participate in the exchange of equipment and materials and scientific and technological information for peaceful uses of nuclear energy. So countries can also cooperate with each other for peaceful purposes. Like, for example, China and Pakistan both have got nuclear deals, and under these deals, Chinese are helping Pakistan in the establishment of nuclear reactors for peaceful purposes. And these nuclear reactors would only be used for the electricity generation or for other purposes like medical research and others. So that is the idea behind the Article 4 of the NPT talks about peaceful use of energy. Article 5 talks about on peaceful nuclear explosions, is interpreted in the light of a comprehensive test ban treaty. And Article 7 talks about enshrines the right of any group or of state to conclude regional treaties to assure the absence of nuclear weapons in their respective territories, nuclear weapon free zone areas. So basically, it also supports the idea of nuclear weapon free zone. For example, in South Asia, Pakistan offered many times over to India that let's make South Asia a nuclear weapon free zone area. यानी कि यहाँ पे कोई nuclear weapon नहीं होंगे. There are many areas where you can see the NWF, NNWZ or S is enforced. For example, in Latin America or in in Africa, these are ensured that these regions will never be nuclear regions. So we have offered many times over to India, but India always declined it. And Article 7 talks about this. The remaining articles are procedural in which the NPT was accompanied by United Nations Security Council resolution UNSCR